An article written by Jan Cubbage, Riverland News, Dunellen, Florida. I've paid close attention to longleaf pine restoration projects at Oleno State Park and Silver River State Park when their respective restoration projects took place years ago. The bulldozing of hundreds of large and young oaks was difficult to watch, as was the fleeing of wildlife. Even the massive oak trees at the trails heads and picnic areas were knocked down and burned like they were giant poison ivy plants. There was indeed public protest, particularly by horseback riding clubs, all to no avail. The problem that I have realized for many years with longleaf pine restoration projects that have been undertaken at our Florida state parks in this radical treatment of oak and other hardwoods as exotics. The tons of food, mass-produced by varied species of oaks, feed wildlife within the 1,400-acre Rainbow Springs State Park, and they are dependent on this food. Deer, endangered fox squirrels, and turkeys especially are dependent on acorns as a fall food source. These animals are competitive for that food source to satisfy their nutritional components necessary for metabolism, growth, and reproduction. Pine cones bearing seeds for squirrels and rats will not be shed until the longleaf pine tree is mature at the age of 28 to 30 years. What a lack of empathy from state wildlife biologists in regard to wildlife welfare. This state biologist and planner perpetuated idea that longleaf pine forests of the past did not contain copses of oaks is a myth. I can produce maps of our area right here in Marion County that were drawn up during the Seminole War period from 1839 to 1845 that demonstrate there existed large areas of large leaf pine forests, but most often noted on the maps of the era are mixed pine and oak forests. When settlers came to the new Florida territory, the oaks fell quickly for construction of buildings and fuel for home fires, blacksmith forges, plankboard roads, and bridges over swamps, and the charcoal industry. Oak timbers were a valuable commercial commodity in the construction of ships and barges, and were exported on river barges to the coast and out of Florida. Of course, the pines were cut down by the millions too, but I will always find it hard to believe that longleaf pine restoration must produce a pines-only arbor community. What I do believe is that these pines are destined for harvest at some point in their long lifespan.